Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. Thank you for joining me for another Disney video. I'm actually filming this right before I'm about to leave for Savannah, Georgia for a bachelorette party. It's been a crazy week, and then I was hit with the worst migraine ever, and so couldn't film yesterday. So this is a literally 2 hours before I have to head to an airport kind of deal, but I wanted to make sure that I was gonna get a video out there for you today. Today's topic was actually a question request from Flint Carlson, who left a comment and asked me, how do you plan a Disney trip with a group when people are coming down on different days? And I am definitely your person to ask about this because I've done it many times before, including the really big January 2017 trip that I took with 10 people who all came and went at different times, and we're probably having a similar trip sometime next year. So I wanted to talk about the best way to handle this because it's a bit more unique than just having a large group of friends or family go down at the same time. So my first tip would be to start communication early. As soon as you start planning this trip is when you want to make sure everyone's on a group email or text thread or WhatsApp thread, whatever it is that you use. Make sure you start that communication really early. And the best way that I planned it is we all kind of agree on a month, settle in on a general week time frame, and then people choose their dates from there. Are they staying for a full 8 days? Are they coming for 4 days? Are they coming in the front half or the back half of the week? But we kind of get on a group email. We email everybody the information of when. They don't have to necessarily tell us right away what days they're gonna pick, but we're just saying this is the week in this month that we're going down, and that's when you should be planning your stay. And starting that communication early, and I'm talking, as soon as you start thinking about this trip, could be 6 months, could be a year, is gonna really help you to understand what everybody is doing and to be on track of all of that. And tip number 2 to stay on track is start a spreadsheet. Just open a Google Doc, or I don't know, anything that just makes it easy for you to track when everybody is coming down and where they're all staying, because you might be staying at different resorts, which I've also dealt with. You want to have basically a spreadsheet that's almost like a calendar. You break everybody out. You have their arrival date, their departure date. You have maybe even their arrival time, because that might decide whether you're doing certain plans on a certain day, and then you want to have their resort that they're staying in. So get that spreadsheet together. It's going to make things really easy, and then even on that spreadsheet you can start planning out other things like what park days you think you're going to be doing, and maybe if you want to eat at certain restaurants together. And I would share that with everybody so they could see it. And that is my tip number 3, which is to have at least a bare bones plan and make sure you're sharing it with everybody. Don't go in completely blind, because it's really hard when you're not all together. So you should have a general idea of Monday we're doing Animal Kingdom and Epcot, Tuesday we're doing All Magic Kingdom, etc, etc. Let people know if your plans are to park hop, because some people might want to save money and not buy park hopper tickets, and so you need to make sure that everyone's kind of on the same level of what's going on. You don't want anyone to feel like they're missing out or anything like that. And then you should also have an idea of meals you want to eat together. I don't think they should plan every meal together because it isn't really likely, especially for a group is pretty big, but I say have at least 3, maybe 4 in a full week. We're talking 7 to 8 day stay, lunch, dinner, whatever, that you're all going to meet up at this one place and you're going to go to that place. We did this with Ohana, we did this with Hoop-Dee-Doo. Those kinds of places are easier to do it with. They kind of are easier to have big groups with. Ohana is family style, you're at these big tables. Hoop-Dee-Doo, you can get very big tables for a group or a couple of tables if need be. So we chose the restaurants that we knew had the space for big groups, and we made a plan and said, okay, Thursday night we have Ohana at 7 p.m. Make sure you're there, 6:45 or whatever it may be. So I think it's important to not try to plan every meal together, but the ones that you do, make sure everyone's on board, knows exactly what time to meet up, where to go, especially if they're new to Disney, and you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. My 4th tip is to plan meetup areas. So that could be in the parks, that could be maybe you're staying at the same resort in different rooms. Just have an idea of where to meet up when people actually arrive at different places. So maybe you're all staying at Coronado Springs, and you're gonna say, we're gonna meet up in the fountain in the lobby, you know, at this time every morning. That's where you're gonna meet up. So if you're ready to meet up with everybody, go to the parks, that's where you go. Or maybe it's, hey, when you get to Magic Kingdom, let's meet up in Adventureland. Like, no matter where we are, we'll come over to Adventureland, and then when you come in, you'll go to Adventureland, and we'll meet up by, I don't know, Aladdin Magic Carpet Ride. I don't know, something like that. Just have like a plan of where you want to meet up, because it can be really hard when you're like, oh, you're here? Yeah, I'm here. Well, where are you? Well, we're over here. Well, I'll walk to you. No, I'll come over to you. And then you're just like missing each other. Know where you want to meet up and make sure that the other people know exactly where that is. Again, especially if you're with new people, make sure they've got like the app and they have the map on hand and they know where to go. Lastly, set someone as a point person, and this can be for like individual groups. This can be the person who's running the whole show. Just make sure that somebody is always checking their phone for text messages, that they're on the up and up of like what is happening with everybody. You don't want people texting all individual people, calling all individual people. It gets really confusing. So maybe there's one or two people who help plan the trip, and then when you're on the trip in every group, there's like, you know, my group is me, I'm the person that you're gonna contact, you're gonna call, you're gonna text if plans change. If you are coming to the park, you know, I'm the person that you speak to. And then maybe Rob is with another group and Rob is the point person. So basically Rob and I would be the people talking to each other, right? And then, you know, maybe there's our friend Ed, he's, you know, another group, and so Ed, Rob, and I are like the three that talk to each other. I'm not saying like don't have your people talk to each other. I'm just saying when it comes to planning, it's so much easier to have a person designated, because then they also know that they should be a little more hyper aware of their phone and like knowing what's going on with everybody and relaying that information to the group. So it's a little bit more rounding up and pre-planning for sure. It can be a little difficult when you've got groups from all over the place, but it's honestly really great. I find that it's always been a positive experience because people get to spend the money they want to spend, whether it's having a short trip and making it cheap, or they want to have a long trip. They get to stay where they want to stay. There's no like, we're staying here and you have to stay here. And there's more freedom to break away from the group or decide you want to sleep in and meet with people later. There's no like feeling like you have to move as like a single entity of people. So it's actually really nice, and I think kind of worth a little extra work to plan everything. If you have any tips or tricks on how you dealt with multiple groups, staying in different places, coming at different times, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to hear it and I think it'd be really helpful for other people coming to this video. If you like this video, then like it. If you like me, you should subscribe. I'm making Disney videos every single week. I do live streams every month. I'm gonna go finish packing and stop sweating under these lights, because oh my god guys, it was hotter here in New York this past week than in Florida. What the what? That is crazy. So I'm gonna go cool off and get ready for the airport. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Bye.